is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
It's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I've got a guest for you folks at Stockton Con.
What up, everybody? AJ Kirsch here, the voice and the host of Stockton Con. The value of wrestling is awesome, so subscribe on YouTube. Scan the QR code right here, now. Subscribe, check it out.
There we go.
You'll be glad you did.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that's what. Hey, man, shout out to Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big O's, San Jose. We're going to shut this shit down. Love and respect, all right? Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, you better let somebody let them know, because we're live on the Value Wrestling right here on YouTube with your Monday Night Raw post-show review for night 2 of the draft, the WWE draft. Night 2 complete, in the books, all said and done. We are moving along, and now we can get on the path. Of course, everything takes official next Monday, so Friday will probably still be a mid-show of just kind of putting the last pieces together before we go into what will be Saturday's Backlash pay-per-view. Yes, we got Backlash coming up on Saturday, so SmackDown should be a good final filler to push us over the hump and get us there. We got a damn good show here with Raw, much better than Friday night SmackDown. And we started off with an opening of a Rolls-Royce point up. Logan Paul getting out. He's greeted by, he is there with I Show Speed. Something I think Tony Khan does a lot of, but that's a whole different story. And then Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, is here. Then Judgment Day, Damian Priest, and the rest of Judgment Day are all out here chatting it up and talking it up. We go inside to see Pat McAfee and Michael Cole standing near ringside, not at the announce tables, getting ready for night 2 of the draft. Pat says Roman Reigns withdrew his name from the draft, and Cole reminds us of number 1. We're pretty much... Okay. Of night 1. Okay. Somebody wrote these notes funky. Each show has a draft room where they some cool names like JBL and Teddy Long are presented. NXT is also watching from the Performance Center, and we start the show off with the WWE Women's World Champion Becky Lynch. She is here. She says she's got a lot of history here. Nearly 6 years ago, she stood up on those very steps, face bloody, and let everybody know that this is her show now. Here she stands, the champion, nearly 6 years later, and she is still saying the same damn thing. Becky wants to defend the championship and wants to fight the best. This leads for Liv Morgan to come out and challenge Becky. And she's looking to be a new contender. Liv presence gets a nice mommy chant. Yes, she gets some boos, some mommy chants. Liv says that the very last thing she wanted was to be handed a title shot, but for some reason she feels like Becky owes her one. The truth is Becky is a champion because Liv did what Becky couldn't, and that was take out Rhea Ripley. This is the Liv Morgan revenge tour, and they both know that the end game was always going to be her, so she won't stop until she has everything that she wants. Becky tells Liv that she is right. Becky wouldn't be holding this title if Liv didn't do what she did to Rhea, but Liv would be holding this if it wasn't for what Becky did to Liv. This brings out Nia Jax. Now, Nia Jax has been on a decent little forward movement. She has progressed to actually getting her name saying on our program. We've grown to respect her a little more. Her in-ring work's been really good. She comes out and talks a little too much for my liking. Her promo in the beginning was okay, but as it went on, she kind of lost any momentum to make her feel like she's talking about, I'm wearing blue, because she had already been drafted to SmackDown on SmackDown shows, so we already knew she was going to SmackDown, and since the official draft final days don't take place till next Monday, so everybody's not going to be on these brands until next Monday officially. Nia Jax was here. She said she's wearing blue because she's going to SmackDown. It was just like, in the first few moments she was okay, but the more she talked, the more this just slowly went downhill. This just became a very boring promo, and I'm just like, they either need to work with Nia Jax on her promo or give her shorter promos or more details to hit, or give her somebody that can talk for it. Because Nia Jax is doing better in the ring, and when she opens her mouth to me, it's just, it falls a little flat. Eventually, she gets up. Liv drops her off the the apron and says Liv will challenge her or accept her challenge for later tonight. So we set up Liv versus Nia Jax here. Anyways, good little setup here. Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch continuing their story. Throwing Nia Jax in there was necessarily bad. The only thing that I really kind of nitpick on here was the more Nia talked, the more I was just like, oh, stop. Just no, the crowd was getting to her too really good. So I was just kind of like, yeah, no, please, just enough. Shush. Move along. Your thoughts are on the opening segment of the show.
Now, the question almost is she a bad promo? Or is she doing that intentionally as a heel to make you not like her?
I think she's just a bad promo.
But does that also not work in her favor, considering her position?
Yes and no. I mean, she needs to be presented as a dominant beast, so she needs to come off that way. When she talks too much and it loses that aura, for me, it's just like, then I'm like, I want to feel like she's a dominant beast, go out there and do the job. Talking, not so much. She really needs a good manager. She just needs a good heating manager.
I'm not going to argue against that.
I mean, Stokely Hathaway would be great for Nia Jax to get her over. You just need somebody at that. I don't know if WWE has anybody that can really fit that. Well, maybe Robert Stone. If they brought up Robert Stone to the main roster and let him work as a manager for Nia Jax, maybe he could fill that role properly.
Okay, let me put it this way. He could. As far as ability goes, yes, he could. I'm kind of interested personally, though, in him wrestling again.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
Like, he was an okay wrestler in TNA, and he seems to be kind of going in that route on NXT. Like, maybe not. We'll see what happens with him. I just want to, now that he's under the WWE umbrella, I just want to see what he can do now.
Yeah.
That's kind of my interest.
I mean, I'd be even happy if he put Nia Jax in the Bloodline as almost a China-esque figure in the background of the Bloodline, just that extra and that female presence for that Bloodline, where Paul Heyman could do a lot of talking for her.
That's a good point.
So I think that would get her over. I feel like she just needs that extra little oomph. But I mean, it's the more she talks, she just loses it. It's just like, no, I need to feel like you're a dominant beast, and just you talk too much, and I lose that aura. I just can't think of anybody strong in WWE that would make a good manager for her, a good heater, or a good somebody. Unless you somehow aligned her with like Shayna Baszler and really made Shayna Baszler the badass heel that she was, and this was like Shayna Baszler is being presented as a female version of Triple H, and that Nia Jax was going to be her heater, her bodyguard, her backup, and did Nia Jax as a China-esque where she just made sure everything was taken care of. You might be able to do it there, but I just can't think of many people that could really help Nia Jax feel that extra oomph and stay serious at the same time.
I think out of the scenario that's been presented at this point, I like your Bloodline idea the best.
Yeah.
But that just means because Paul Heyman to be doing more talking.
Yes. No, exactly. Why are we going to have issues again tonight? Why are we not? All right. Hopefully we stay going live. How are you opening things? I didn't tell you to open anything. Anyways, we get to see Stephanie McMahon. She is here tonight. She comes out. How can I fix it? There's no way to fix it once you're live. The only bad thing. You can hear that can help. Stream, you're good. Output. Oh, now we're up. Okay, so maybe we'll get back and going because now it looks like everything's okay. Let's just refresh everything. Sorry, we're having slow difficulties tonight. Done a lot of control over it. We'll see if everything picks up and levels out here. Okay, are we going to play? Because everything's telling me we're in the green. Play. Look good there. All right. Everything looking back to being on the point, except that you're not playing correctly. Okay. Stopping. 2 seconds. That looks good. This looks good. Why are we not? Okay, are we going? Are we fixing? Are we running? Are we up? Are we looking pretty? Guess I have nobody out there to let us know what the status is on everything. All right, now we look there. We good. Okay, thank you. Thank you for jumping in the chat and letting us know we're good, that you can hear us. On my end, it was looking slow and dropping frames and everything else. And now, why are we opening other stuff on my page here? I don't need to go shopping at Walmart right now. Anyway, Stephanie remains here. Stephanie's out to let us know that Raw selects Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser Imperium. No Giovanni Vinci in this draft. Jade Cargill is drafted or staying on SmackDown, however you want to take that. And then Raw picks Damage Control, Io Sky, Asuka, Kairi, Dakota Kai, and Kairi Sane all going to Raw, and Kevin Owens going to stay on SmackDown from here. So that happens. From there, we go into a match with Xavier Woods and Gunther. Both men proclaiming themselves for the King of the Ring tournament, which I guess starts next week on Raw. We're going to have several weeks of tournament going into the King and the Queen of the Ring show in Saudi Arabia at the end of May, a night before Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. So it's going to be a long weekend at the end of the month here. Anyways, we get a good solid match between Gunther and Xavier Woods. I don't think you could be too upset with it. It was a good solid match. Xavier Woods definitely stayed in there, but Gunther showed his dominance. Wood looks to grab the ropes, but Gunther turns him, grabs the leg, and pulls him back to the center of the ring. Gunther with elbows to the head, and then a modified STF. Wood has the tap out, and Gunther wins the match. Match went 16 minutes, 33 seconds. A solid match here between Gunther and Xavier Woods. I was very impressed. Imperium staying on Raw, but Gunther looking to dominate everybody. Kofi Kingston got a good run here. They're making it at least seem possible. I wonder if we'll see these two again in the King of the Ring tournament. Could this be the finals match between these two? I hope not. I hope they at least give somebody for Gunther to really feel like it's going to be a viable threat to win that King of the Ring. I think Gunther should be the King of the Ring because it gives him something without having to put a title on him that keeps him relevant, because it's not time to put the world title on him. My thing would be there would be two major players going into next year's Rumble to possibly win that Rumble, and right now I would look at a CM Punk and a Gunther to be your top two guys for a Rumble win. Gunther, because he definitely deserves to be there. CM Punk, after he comes back from injury, he's going to be red hot. And I think a lot of fans at this point want to see CM Punk get that Rumble win, and CM Punk get solidified into WrestleMania 41 in a main event that he actually, honestly, whether you love him or not, the man deserves his main event at WrestleMania, and that's a fact.
This man has, first of all, this man has deserved his main event since 2014.
Yes.
Come on now.
So.
But now, coming back to the match here with Gunther, Lord, and Xavier Woods. Last week you had Xavier Woods talking about he is the reigning and defending King of the Ring, since he's the last one to win the King of the Ring
in 2021.
And then you make him tap out like a booch tonight. I mean, granted, it was a good match, but you knew Gunther was going over.
Yes.
You knew Gunther was going to steamroll over him tonight.
No.
I'm glad they gave him a little bit of a showcase, so it wasn't like a squash match. But you knew who was going to go over because that was just the right call.
No, Gunther was going to win. Gunther is probably my number one pick, depending on who's in this tournament. But I feel Gunther needs this, and it's a good way to keep Gunther in the main event scene. Have him have something to continue his storyline without necessarily putting him in the world title scene. I could see Gunther winning. I could either see Gunther possibly, if you build it up right, winning a world title at the Bash of Berlin, or we may have to wait till WrestleMania of next year. I think CM Punk and Gunther are probably going to be your two top main event guys fighting for titles going into WrestleMania, and I think that's going to be your best story. So Cody, well, I don't know how it's all going to play out. We'll have to see who has the title. Cody Gunther might be the best match, and then CM Punk and maybe a Drew McIntyre biting out for the title. To see. From there, we're backstage with Jey Uso, who's
in between time.
Go ahead.
I was saying in between time just to see what they do with Damian Priest as the World Heavyweight Champion. It's like, yes, your biggest match, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. But at that some point, what are we doing with Damian Priest, and how do they present his title reign until it's time to take the title off him?
It does depend on what they do with him. I don't know if we're going to get him versus Finn Balor coming into SummerSlam, or at some point if there's going to be a turn here. There seems to be a new Judgment Day. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting pieces that are floating into this. Damian Priest definitely seems to be stepping into that leadership role that was held by Mommy. Mommy's off of TV due to injury, Rhea Ripley. And so I don't know if Damian Priest is going to take a new lead. When you bring Rhea Ripley back, is that going to cause friction? Or is that going to be the catalyst to start the friction? When does Finn Balor want that title? Could Finn Balor possibly win Money in the Bank? Could that be a catalyst that leads to issue? We also saw tonight Dominic Mysterio walking out of the same locker room with Liv Morgan. And that's the very next segment. We were backstage with Jey Uso, questioned by Kathy, who says he loves pressure. She asked about Logan, and he says he wishes they signed the Paul brothers with the Paul brother with the winning record. And in the background, we saw Liv Morgan quickly walk out of her room, turn the corner, walk away, and shortly after that, Dominic Mysterio appeared and walked away. So there's some storyline possibly there that could be very interesting. A lot of ifs answer that.
This is not the first time you've seen them look at each other like that for a second.
But Damian Priest, I don't know how long he runs with the title. He's definitely deserved it, but I don't know. I've got to see more of what he's doing. Tonight, they really kind of doesn't feel like the most important thing on Raw right now, and that could hurt him as champion. And having him hang out with Logan Paul tonight was kind of weird. Judgment Day controls the show. It seemed like they were more, I don't know. I get the optics, but to me, it didn't, I felt something funky like a monkey. And having them all together is just, I don't know. The Judgment Day should feel like they're dominant tonight. I don't know. It was interesting. It felt like more about Logan Paul than Damian Priest. So, just what I see. Up next, Logan Paul is out with someone I'm choosing to pretend doesn't exist moving forward. Okay, well, that's what this person says. And this was I Show Speed. And Logan Paul came out and they made the announcements. Logan is here with some Prime and Prime only. He says, "What's up to the crowd?" and then asks Samantha to give Patrick Mahomes a sick entrance. She obliges. And that's what we get. And then we get the first pick of the second round. It's CM Punk. CM Punk staying on Raw. SmackDown's announcement. They get the pride of Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. So it is an official, the fact that their group is going to be called the Pride. This is the first really official we heard this being called the Pride. It has been thrown out there several times, but we hadn't known that that was going to be what they were really going to be called until now. Raw then gets Braun Strowman. And SmackDown picks up Tiffany Stratton, so it'll be Tiffy time on SmackDown going forward. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That was your second round in the draft for tonight. From there, that was fun and all, but Logan came here to make some picks, celebrate with Mahomes, but he got here and Jay is running his mouth. Truth is, Priest will beat Jay because Jay made a mistake leaving the bloodline. He can't become a champion on his own, something he's become a master at. This then brings Jey Uso out, who wants to know if Casey thinks he can beat Priest and be champion. He offers to beat Logan's butt here. And Logan says he's been yeeting since 2017, then gives a yeet out. He says little brother Jay trying to roast him. He's not good when he's alone. The difference is him and his bloodline are tight. Here comes Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Logan says Jay's vocab consists of yeet and oos. They beat down Jey Uso as Logan Paul berates him on the mic. Finn mounts and punches a few times while Logan heads over to Patrick Mahomes to offer to take his 3 Super Bowl rings. Logan puts them on and enters the ring. Paul goes to punch, but lands it on JD as Jay ducks. Jay stands behind Logan and Finn, saying, damn, he gets knocked the F out. Jay shoots the legs of Finn. Paul tries to attack, punches Jay in the back of the head, but here comes Braun Strowman making his return after a long-awaited return. So it does not look like he's going to be associated with the supposed White Rabbit, the Uncle Howdy return as it stands right now. Doesn't mean anything can happen in the future, but bringing Braun Strowman back right now, he may be tying it up with Logan Paul, so this could be very interesting where they go here. He ups on the apron, shoots Finn Balor back with ease, and chokes Slam high and hard. Logan's on the outside talking crap to Braun, hops out and chases him. Logan runs into the crowd. Braun looks to Mahone. Ricochet comes over, Jay comes over and tries to calm down Braun Strowman, and they walk away. Good little segment here. A lot of things going on here. But Logan Paul aligning with Judgment Day in this scenario, I guess we'll have to wait and see what plays out here. This may have just been building to the Jey Uso, Damian Priest match, which is fine going forward.
Well, since we know he's the U.S. champion, he's staying on SmackDown, so it's a short-term alliance any way you look at it.
What's the point of the draft? To mix up the rosters. And they did mix up the rosters. Maybe not so much on SmackDown, but they did more here tonight. So, yeah. That is the point of the draft. To mix up the rosters, to give something fun, to do something. Is it perfect? No, but it does what it needs to do. Backstage, Chad Gable is with R-Truth, who says it's been a pleasure doing business with him. Here comes the Miz, and Miz asks Truth what's going on. Truth tells him they get one now and two later. Something about a now and later, and you have to go back maybe to the 90s to even get that punchline. Now and later, I think that's, I don't know. Do kids eat now and laters these days? Do they even exist now and laters?
I believe so.
Okay.
I sing that most during Halloween.
Yes. What that means, we're unclear. Truth thinks they could possibly be drafted to the NFL and get drafted to the Chiefs. Miz informs him on the details. Truth says he knows now. Mahomes is here if Truth wants to talk to him, and Truth thinks he is the insurance guy. Yay. Truth leaves. Gable comes up to Miz to call him quite the negotiator. Miz leaves, and Sami Zayn comes out of nowhere with a hard right to the face of Chad Gable. Sami Zayn pulling off his own Kevin Owens punch here. We were then backstage with Kathy Kelly and Booker T, who is our analyst for tonight. He says nothing of importance. And then we get Drew McIntyre. He shows up at the mention of CM Punk because Booker talked about CM Punk being drafted to Raw. Drew McIntyre approaches him. He's angry that Punk got drafted before him. Drew tells Booker not to act like them. He's not like them. Booker knows what happened. Booker asks Drew if he knows what happened. Drew knows how Booker really feels about Punk. Oh, an interesting segment there. Drew obsessed with CM Punk. Drew McIntyre and Tony Khan seem to have something in common if you don't know. Anyways, from there we get the
Mariah Carey song. Why are you so obsessed with me?
There's a song that goes, I think, you're so vain, right?
Yep.
I think this song is about you. Anyways. Oh, Mr. Miguel Z finally joins the chat. He joins the conversation. He decides to join the party. Finally, I guess, late, better than never. If you're in the chat, make sure you hit that like. So let's get all the likes up. Let's blow this out of the water. How you doing, Mr. Z? Are you yeeted up for the night? Anyways, the Intercontinental title match came up next. We had Bronson Reed versus Sami Zayn. And a good, solid match. Commentary did allude to El Generico briefly. It's nice to have Pat McAfee on commentary because he just kind of says whatever he wants. And there's not a lot of stuff that he doesn't get out there. You just got home. Well, good for you. You want a cookie while you're there. Anyway, Sami hits a haluva kick. Reed collapses. Sami goes for the cover, but Chad Gable comes out of nowhere. Locks the hit. German suplex to Sami, causing a DQ. Gable continues to beat down. He rolls up his sleeves and locks in an ankle lock. Ref stops him long enough for Reed to climb the top rope and hit a tsunami on Sane. Gable then grabs the title and holds it over his head, standing over Sammy, but Reed grabs Gable and hits him with a Death Valley driver, a very beautiful Death Valley driver we haven't seen in a long time. Now Reed grabs the title and holds it up over their heads. Will we be getting a triple threat between Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed in the near future? Not as much yeet as Mr. Clarke. I know. Mr. Clarke is the yeeter of worlds. He's the yeet man. He's yeeter. He's yeet-tastic. He's Mr. Yeets It. He the yeety eater.
What is wrong with you?
Hey. Mr. Z started it tonight, so pick it up with him in the chat.
This is true.
In the half conversation.
Which is why I said he was number one in the chat.
Yep.
Eat. I'm actually glad Chad Gable came out and caused the DQ because Bronson Reed could not take another loss.
Yes, this is true.
That man needs to be rebuilt.
Now, we're going to have to see what happens with him going forward or how that plays out. It'll be very, very interesting. Why are we opening stuff I didn't say open? Love when computers just decide to go on their own behavior and just things. All right, things are looking a little better. I hope we're running smooth and pretty. Some of my things don't seem to be running as pretty on this end. We're frozen. Okay. Reconnect. See where we are. Anyways, from there, the APA are here for the third round. JBL and Ron Simmons are out here to give us the third round. And with the first pick of the third round of the draft, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilds, Carlito, and Selena Vega. The LWO are all coming to Raw. Very interesting that Carlito was added into this package with this group. We'll have to see what happens, but he's going to be on Raw to start this storyline. And then we found out that SmackDown, you guys look good on my end. Good to hear. And then we heard that SmackDown took Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Angel, and Berto, and Elektra will be staying on SmackDown. So the LWO and Legado del Fantasma are now separated. So we're going to have to see how this plays out and what is going to happen in the future. Then we get the announcement that of Raw that Drew McIntyre has been drafted to Raw. And Shinsuke Nakamura looks like he's going to get his fresh start going over to SmackDown. Maybe he can be a contender and a player. Maybe he's going to go chase Cody again. We're going to have to wait and see. Nakamura definitely needs to be reset. They got a good story. They got a good creation behind his gimmick. They just need to get him some solid wins to make him a viable threat. Anyway, speaking of Drew McIntyre, or DM Hunk, or whatever he wants to be referred to these days, he comes out and he is the only sane person left. In what world does he get drafted in round 3? There is not one person in this arena that can tell him this makes sense. As the APA had all of them drinking since Friday, we get CM Punk chats. Drew stands there staring aimlessly into the vast abyss of the arena. Drew wonders if they think it's cool of the crowd to chant his name. Punk is a corporate ass kisser now, a shill of himself, and Punk finally achieved something. He hurt Drew McIntyre at Mania. When he attacked him, he fractured Drew's elbow. But unlike Punk, Drew came to work weekly. He is a real man. CM Punk music hits, and Drew's looking for him, but CM Punk is up in the VIP box, and we see Punk. He's not sitting at home. He's right here, you little bitch. This is the second time we heard the word bitch on TV tonight on WWE program. It was used earlier by Pat McAfee, so it was interesting to see that we're throwing out this PG era slowly and slightly. Drew McIntyre rushes to the back looking to attack, and we head to Ron Simmons, who gives us all what we want to hear as he goes, "Damn!" And backstage, Alpha Academy are hyping up Maxine for her run in the Battle Royal, and in comes Chad Gable to ask her where her title is. She said she didn't win it, and he asks, "Do you want a participation ribbon?" Runs her down. He tells Otis to get it together and warns Akira about dancing, then tells him to go out there and win him a championship. In comes Ivy Nile to tell him it's okay, and let's go warm up to Maxine. And the cat's decided to join the show here, ladies and gentlemen. I know you can't see the cat, but she's right here. Jeez. Yes. Okay. Anyways, backstage, Kathy is with Braun Breakers, interrupted by Dapper. Sheamus tells him to cool his porridge. Drew walks by and quickly apparently heads towards the box. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell in the ring. Candice has a match with Maxine. This is a pretty decent match. Maxine seemed a little bit on fire, locking in a nice leg lock until Indy Hartwell took out Ivy Nile. This distracted Maxine long enough for Candice to send her in the ropes. Big boat to Maxine. Candice steps on the back and pulls back on the arms and stops Maxine into the mat. The Wicked Stepmother cover 1, 2, 3. This wasn't a very long match. It was definitely a good match. Maxine had pretty much control of the match until Indy Hartwell took out Ivy Nile and distracted her. Candice sold the ankle from the ankle lock that Maxine had on her for quite a while. And Indy carries Candice right out of the ring. But a good solid little match here for all 4 women involved in the segment.
We weren't here for a long time, but we were here for a good time. That's kind of the sentiment of this match.
Mm-hmm. Kathy is certainly getting her steps in as she is now with the LWO. Ray has mixed emotions. They're glad to be here on Raw, but they have unfinished business with Carlito. Here comes 30 Sanchez Dom to tell his dad not to forget that the Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw. Ray says he hasn't even been drafted, then clowns on his dirty Sanchez mustache, saying, "Oh, you got something on your lip."
It's like when your own dad's clowning on you on national TV. Damn. And there's really not much Dom can say.
No, not in that scenario. Not in that scenario at all. We come back from break to see Drew walk around the backstage looking for Punk. He's up in the skyboxes. He finds the one that Punk was in, but he's nowhere to be there. He finds an autographed picture of Punk. That Punk left. Then Punk's music hits in the arena. Punk walks out to the ring. Ha! Freaking beautiful. Punk says he loves the city and the people in it. So he'll try to do this in less time than the amount of time Drew has had held the championship. So he's got 5 minutes and 46 seconds, and he asks Pat to set the timer. This would normally be the part of the program where he asks if he has Drew's attention now, but he's had that for quite some time. Drew is like an ex-girlfriend that can't get rid of him. He hurt Drew's elbow. Good. Drew prayed for Punk to get injured, but Punk did that to him. He thought maybe he got hurt sitting around and using Twitter. That's all he's good for. This is why he got drafted before him. Drew has given him purpose. The reason he was drafted before Drew, it's simple wrestling economics. He is the best in the world in the ring. He is the best in the ring. He's the best on the mic, and he's even the best on the commentary. No offense, Pat and Michael. A minute 33 in, Pat says, loser hopes things happen. They pray for things to happen. Winners make it happen. And when he is 100%, he promises to make Drew's life a living hell. We got a great short, simple Punk promo that gets you excited, lights up the place, and we can't wait to see Punk back in action. This is what they need to do, is put Punk out there and doing these little segments to continue just rifling the fans. And it was a good segment here. Drew and Punk are going to be the story on Raw for a while, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
And they're both great at antagonizing each other. That's the great part. They don't have to touch yet. All they have to do is keep jabbing at each other.
Punk did sit cross-legged in the ring. His music hit to wrap him up, and he didn't really leave until we got Teddy Long and Alundra Blaze walking out. Then Punk walks up, gives a hug to Teddy. Then he tries to give a hug to Alundra Blaze, and she does her eye point like, I'm watching you. And then they eventually embrace and a hug and kiss. He kisses her on the cheek and walks away. And so now, in the 4th round, the first pick going to Raw was Judgment Day. All members of Judgment Day, meaning Dirty Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough, are officially staying on Raw, as Damian Priest was already set as the champion. He wasn't going to be drafted anywhere. SmackDown gets Naomi, so that'll be a huge add. Or no, she's already over there, so that's just another one. Raw picks up from NXT. Raw picks up from NXT Ilya Dragunov. So a big move here. We'll have to see where he plays in. Rumors are he may be the next member to join Imperium. But there's a deep history between Gunther and Ilya Dragunov that we'll have to see play out in the future. SmackDown gets the pick of the night in Scrap Daddy's book as Adam Pearce is rejoicing as SmackDown takes Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And Adam Pearce could not be happier to see those two names leaving his roster. From there, we got Liv Morgan and Nia Jax in a good, strong, solid match. Tiffany Stratton was in the audience in the first row. Eventually, Naomi comes out and attacks Tiffany in the crowd. Nia is pissed, hits Naomi off the apron. Liv bounces off the ropes with the code breaker. Oblivion 1, 2, 3, and Liv Morgan picks up a big win at 10 minutes, 25 seconds over Nia Jax. This is a good, solid match. Naomi and Tiffany Stratton playing their part in this. A lot of storylines building up here. A lot of interesting things coming out of tonight. Can't wait to see what happens with all of this. From there, more riveting commentary from Booker T. Backstage, of course, Pierce is walking. Kathy ditches Booker for Pierce and asks for some insight. Pierce feels great. Says sometimes it's the picks you don't make. And his favorite pick, of course, is Chelsea Green going to SmackDown. Tony needs to take notes. This is how you build a long-term feud. Yes, we know. Anyways, coming back for a second night, and all the shills out there and the tribalist haters are going to jump all over this because we got to see Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley, the Dudleys, back on TV this week, continuing the draft. They're here on Raw. And, of course, all the shills are probably griping and complaining and whining and boohooing all over Twitter as Bubba Ray Dudley is now, again, on WWE TV, and it pisses them off because he's a shill. He's only saying great things about the company. But then when you look at people at AEW who are over here selling Raw stuff, are they not doing the same thing? Of course, Bully Ray's opinion is actually honest, and it's not one-sided or biased. But if you don't listen to it, then you don't know the truth, and you only take your own opinion. Or you don't like his opinion, and then you want to label him as something just based on the fact you don't like his opinion, because somewhere in this world we decide if we don't like something, then they're wrong, and we're right, and if you're wrong, you're bad, you're terrible, you're all these labels. Get over your damn self. It's all right. Do you know how we grow as people? It's disagree with people. I mean, me and Mr. Clarke wouldn't be as close as we were if we didn't disagree a lot more than we agreed on things.
Neither one of us like being yes men.
No.
But here's the thing also. Yes, Bubba is getting some time on WWTV, but it ain't WWE that's paying him for most of his bills. That's Busted Open Radio. So...
Well, I think Bubba Ray's under a Legends contract with WWE, but I think, Busted Open Radio is his thing that's separate that he's getting paid for under another thing.
Source of income, though.
Yes.
That doesn't have anything, which might have been a nice side piece, side income.
But, I mean, he's not, Busted Up Radio is not a part of WWE. He's not going out there shilling WWE. Harry Bischoff has no affiliation with anything, and he's out here telling you like it is, but people don't like him. Oh, he's a shield for WWE. He's a troll, blah, blah, blah. People are so angry.
And if you ever listen to Eric Bischoff, he actually still criticizes WWE. And he's worked for them.
Yes. Anyways, we get the next set of draft picks in the 5th round of the draft pick. New Day are drafted first to Raw. Pedro Deadly will stay on SmackDown. Raw then picks NXT's Lyra Valkyria. So that's a big get. Mm-hmm. And SmackDown takes Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. World Tag Team match is up next. The Awesome Truth versus the Alpha Academy. Otis rips his shirt and then goes for a caterpillar tag to Akira. Akira to the top rope. He slowly climbs. AEW fans they're always angry. And their daddy, their leaders, Uncle Dave and Tony are the ones that stir that pot. I'm sorry. Tony Khan is the one that continues this anger and continues this stuff by the random wild shit he says. Anyways, Otis screams for the Academy as Cesaro lands on the knee. Miz tries for a finish, but Akira hits him with an arm drag. Blind check from Truth. Akira with the right. Truth comes in. They hit the Truth crushing finale. Miz hits a drop kick on Otis. Cover 1, 2, 3. Awesome Truth retains their titles. This match went 1 minute 41 seconds. Good solid match.
As long as it needed to go.
Yes. Good solid match. Not a whole lot to say about it. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Backstage, Damian Priest gives the Judgment Day the old Chad Gable pep talk. He doesn't need their help to beat Jey Uso. JD has a towel on his head. When he removes it, he is heavily bruised from taking the shot from the rings. JG may make some concussion jokes. Liv Morgan is walking around backstage. Up comes Becky to congratulate her on a win and gives her a title shot. Here comes Damage Control to warn Becky that they'll be seeing her on Raw now. Out comes Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce for the final round of the draft. Raw selects Karrion Kross, Scarlett, and Akam and Razor, the authors of Pain, for Final Testament. All going to Raw. Hopefully the Final Testament gets to do something on Raw to be built up now that they're away from the Pride. SmackDown takes DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. Raw then takes Bronson Reed, and then SmackDown takes NXT's Blair Davenport. So good night here for some NXT stars, some big names making the big jump. I don't know if they told many of the people in NXT that they were getting drafted, because at least with the females tonight, they were either honestly shocked and did not know, or they really sold it really well. Whichever one, it was a good moment to see.
I mean, either is possible, but just like almost like the surprising gratitude you will see on the NXT calls. Like, oh my God, I'm going up to the main roster.
And then it's always nice. I know Triple H is this way and everything, and I know people get on Tony Khan because he's a hugger, but Tony Khan's hugging people a little differently. I mean, Shawn Michaels hugging these people is not like how Tony Khan hugs them. Shawn Michaels is hugging them goodbye, whispering in their ear his final whatever he needs to tell them, and it's more of a moment than Tony Khan hugging everybody that comes up around him. Of course, I wonder if Tony will hug anybody.
Even with his hugs, he does not feel like a mark.
No.
He's been in the business long enough. He is a mentor. So I mean,
no, it feels like that mentor. I'm hugging you. This is your goodbye. I'm telling you your last piece of advice. You've done great things, whatever. Because it's not about the hug with Shawn as much. Yes, he's hugging them, but he's more whispering in their ear, telling them whatever last bit of advice or whatever he needs to tell them.
Whatever encouragement.
Because you can see in their face, they're like, they're on there, that they're showing their emotions, but you can see they're listening. You can tell through the eyes. Tony Khan just hug. I don't know. Maybe Tony Khan won't hug anybody anymore after what Scrappy Doo and Jack Perry did to him now. Anyways,
the character, I'd be wary if I was him.
You know what? That makes me think. Because it was it Jim Cornette? Or was it Eric Bischoff that pointed out the size that Tony Khan stands as tall as Jack Perry and the Young Bucks, and Okada felt like the odd man, the big man out, like all the rest looked the same. I
believe that was Bischoff.
And I found that funny, and now I called Scrappy, Jack Perry Scrappy, but I'm like maybe Matt and Nick and Jack could be Huey, Dewey, and Louie, which would make Okada Uncle Scrooge.
Jeez.
How do you feel about that one, Mr. Miguel? He's the Rainmaker. He's the money man, right? So, I mean, Uncle Scrooge it is, right? Maybe that's the storyline. Maybe that's the storyline Tony Khan's writing. It's Scrooge McDuck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and we just don't realize it. He grew up in the same time period. He might have been a big fan of DuckTales. Tony Khan back there singing, DuckTales, ooh, DuckTales, ooh. I can't wait to hear what Miguel Z has to say about that one. Anyways, we got the Jey Uso, Ricochet, and Andrade match, which is a weird combination of these three. They're taking on Judgment Day. Hopefully Andrade gets to look impressive on SmackDown as he moves forward. What role he'll play, where he'll come out shiny and all of that. Ricochet, of course, staying on Raw. And Jey Uso staying on Raw. Anyways, we got a good solid match. It mixed it up on all levels here. Everybody got to shine bright. Priest was trying to end it. Super kick from Jay to Priest. Another one for JD. Finn comes in. Spear to Finn. Uso splash. 1, 2, 3. Andrade, Ricochet, and Jey Uso are your winners. This match went 10 minutes, 41 seconds. And the show ended beautifully. It was a nice little show. It was a better draft show than SmackDown. And I think we had some great moments there.
I was disappointed in this match, though, at least in the beginning with the entrances. Because obviously that means the fact that Ricochet didn't come out with the Speed title, it's like he is the inaugural Speed champion. Like, there's no mention of it. He didn't come out with the title. So obviously this is not a part of the same continuum. That's just extra content.
I don't know.
I'm disappointed in that.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why that was. Be interesting to see if they change that up going in the future if they're really just going to keep it as a separate entity. And then maybe keeping it a separate entity to see if it takes off. I know a lot of people hate the speed matches. They don't understand it. I don't know how you don't understand what the concept of it is. It's just it's for people who love wrestling. That's all these matches are about, or quick interacting wrestling matches in a time manner. It's just something different, and I don't know how you can't just enjoy it for what it is. Don't take it so seriously. It's not meant to be.
Very true. I have a similar concept. That's supposed to be one of the lower brands for IFW. I'm not going to name the name, but the only difference is mine is 5 minutes instead of 3.
So, anyways, that was Raw. A good solid show, a better draft show than last or SmackDowns. We have one more big show for WWE before we go into Backlash. I think SmackDown will give us our final little pieces to draw all that together. And so now we can be excited for this Saturday when we get Backlash in France. 10 a.m. start time out here on the West Coast. So, see how long this show goes, and we'll be here for a live review afterwards. Anything else? Anything else you want to add to it all?
Well, I mean, we got as solidified as we can, except for, like you said, this coming SmackDown. But as far as the draft, it wasn't as spectacular as I thought it was going to be, but it, like you've been saying, it was better than the SmackDown than night one of the draft.
Yeah, let's see if I can find any updated notes at least of if anybody else.
Yes, the supplemental draft for tonight.
I'm gonna see if anybody's announcing them yet. I have to go to a website to actually find that information out. It doesn't look like that's not what I was looking for.
They might have it on something like Raw Talk, but that's video.
Coverage of the draft. No. Back 3 days ago, 23 hours ago. Where's the other night? They had like supplemental draft pretty quickly going on, so I don't know. Anybody has the supplemental draft going yet? If Fightful has any updates at this point. Nope, not at this point. Oh, no supplemental draft at this point where we stand, so we're going to have to wait and see when we get that updated. Anyways, tomorrow's Tuesday. New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast will be out tomorrow. And then Wednesday we will be here. I don't know who's going to be hosting the Dynamite post-show review. I guess we'll have to see how Dynamite plays out. Could be very interesting, so make sure you're here for your Dynamite review show. You may be interacting with a special guest host. Could be very interesting. Thursday is your weekend preview. Friday we'll be back with a SmackDown post-show review. And then Saturday we'll be here after Backlash with a post-show review. Myself, Mr. Clarke, and Miguel Z will all be here covering all of that. Anyways, I guess that covers it for Sunday. Well, Sunday we'll be here with the Rebound podcast. When that'll air, I don't know exactly. We'll get to you on that note when we can finalize some more things on that. Otherwise, we will see you on the next one. I guess it's time to say goodbye, good night, and fair adieu. Very well. Tell him good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Exactly.